In China, there are about 36 lakes named West Lake. And this one in Zhejiang province is the most significant one. Welcome to Travelogue. Welcome to Hangzhou. In this episode, we're going to take you around West Lake to experience 1,000 years of history back to Song Dynasty.
By the middle of the 8th century AD, Tang power had ebbed. The next half-century in China was into 5 northern dynasties and 10 southern kingdoms. In the year of 960, a new power, Song Dynasty, reunified most of China proper. The Song period divides into 2 phases, Northern Song and Southern Song. The division was caused by the forced abandonment of northern China in the year of 1127 by the Song court, which could not push back the nomadic invaders. The city of Hangzhou is located along the southeast coast of China. It is in south part of Yangtze River Delta and at the backward position of Qiantang River.
At the end of the Song Dynasty, it's Yuan Dynasty in China. It's about 13th century. Italian famous traveler Marco Polo came to Hangzhou, and he said Hangzhou was the most beautiful city in the world.
No, wait a minute. Hangzhou is not only beautiful. Famed for its natural scenery, Hangzhou and its West Lake have been immortalized by countless poets and artists. The city was the capital of the southern Song dynasty from the year 1127 until the Mongols' invasion of 1277, during which time the city's population is estimated to have been as high as 1 million, making it the largest city in the world. Although Song rulers were in steady military conflict with their northern neighbors, the civilian kind of rule that determined the Song politics from the beginning created a stable environment in which the population increased steadily. There are many traditional stories on the West Lake. Most of the stories based on the view, spectacular view. For example, right here, they call that calm lake with full moon, which means in the past, lots of people come here to enjoy the full moon day. In the autumn weather, calm, lake is calm, so people come here to enjoy the full moon cake and watch the moon chat, have tea. And right now, I can give a new name because it changed so much. I call it the high rises on the water, because if you look back of the lake right now, this new city of Hangzhou built so many buildings, high rises, just like a come up from the lake. Or they have another name, it's Waterman. There's a guy who's been here for half an hour doing nothing but wash the floor. Everybody passing him, he would just wash it. Every footstep, he would wash it. So, waterman. Or you can call that boatman. There are lots of boats. Tourists can spend like 120, 200 kwai for 2 hours, so you can take a boat. And the boat will, very traditional boat, just paddling all the way around the lake. Quite interesting. Song Dynasty handicrafts and industrial manufacture had achieved a high standard. Shipbuilding was necessary to provide the northern Song capital, Kaifeng, with agricultural products from the south. Beautiful West Lake attracted many beautiful things around it. Lots of tourists come over here, of course, taking photos, shootings, and even local people come over here. For example, behind me there's a newlywed to taking the wedding pictures. There's many love stories happens here. From history to now, there always some interesting things happens over here. During the Southern Song Dynasty, caused by the growing population, city walls of Hangzhou were no large enough to contain all households. The city were growing beyond their old borders, and downtown stretched in the areas around the old city. In Southern Song Dynasty, Hangzhou was the capital of China, and West Lake has been always the center of Hangzhou. Emperors come over here traveling. It became a private park of the emperors. And today, many real estate developers developing good and most expensive houses, apartments around there. The Song Dynasty is notable for the development of cities, not only for the administrative purpose, but also as a center of trade, industry, and maritime commerce. Private trade grew and the market economy began to link the coastal provinces and the interior. Land holding and government employment were no longer the only means of gaining wealth and prestige. This is the most busy street in Hangzhou. It used to be the royal path, which means the emperor of Song Dynasty in and out from the street directly to his palace, not far from here. And according to the local tourist bureau, just underneath the surface, if you dig deep enough, you can still find the original street, maybe with the emperor's footprints. Back Song Dynasty, market rules valid for the markets within the city walls did not count for the outside markets, where merchandise developed to a very important economic branch. Shops in the towns were not restricted to reserved lanes or stalls, but were allowed to be open everywhere around the city. The Song Dynasty was a time of consolidation for Chinese culture. The traditional state of civil administration fully developed and brought up a revival of Confucian thought, the so-called Neo-Confucianism. Zhejiang province has held a significant position in Chinese tea production. The early record of tea cultivation in Zhejiang can be dated back to the 2nd century. In the 8th century, 3 of 18 tribute teas were produced here. If you have ever been in China, you must heard about Longjing tea. Longjing translated in English literally means dragon well. And this is the dragon well. And it's not a normal dragon well. It's lots of stories, mysteries behind it. For example, I was told this water here changes color 5 times a year. And also the 3 characters on the wall that's carved on the stone called Old Dragon Well. Normally you don't see that clearly, but if you put this water on the characters, you can see very clear. 15, 16, 17, 18. There are a total of 18 tea trees in this garden. They're very special. They have had a name and an interesting story. In Song Dynasty, here used to be a temple. A master monk lived here for all his life. All he did is growing these tea trees and pray to the Buddha. Qing Dynasty, Emperor Qianlong had a chance to visit here, and he had a chance to taste the tea from this tea garden. He loved it very much. We did a little calculation, and according to local management, the teas cost more than gold. Locals enjoy their tea at the village tea house, which has been a traditional part of Hangzhou life ever since the Song Dynasty 1,000 years ago, when the city was the imperial capital. Today, the tea house is Hangzhou people's favorite place to enjoy their spare time. In China, tea culture started Tang Dynasty, became popular in Song Dynasty. There are so many different ways to enjoy just a cup of tea. For example, here in Dragon Well we mentioned earlier, it's also called Longjing Cha. You have to come over here. It's called 18 Tree, this whole place. It's so famous because the emperor used to come here drinking a glass of a Longjing tea right here on the spot. So, we'll know more about tea culture and history and enjoy tea. That's the place. Tea culture can be different. It depends on where you are. I mean, each city has its own custom. For example, in Hangzhou, there are 700 or 800 tea houses. It's a totally social place. Like a Qingteng tea house, people come over here, order a cup of tea. It costs only 50 to 100 kuai, depends on what kind of tea you use. And all the food for free. In the weekends, it's quite popular. People bring their friends, family, and spend the whole day here. Talk about different kind of a tea costume. I love Hangzhou style because it's not only can enjoy the tea, also have so many different dishes and food. It's all local gourmets. So you can put things together like morning tea, lunch, afternoon tea, and dinner. One-stop shop. I'm ready. Time to eat. Now, I'm the happiest man in the world. Good. Tradition said that literary artists of ancient China were inspired either by wine or tea. Those who were fond of wine were said to write in a passionate and epic style. Those who preferred tea tend to be sentimental and romantic. Six Harmonies Pagoda, highly erected by the Qiantang River and to the south of the West Lake, is a perfect symbol of a brick and wood structure built in ancient China. It is first built in the year 970 AD in northern Song Dynasty, in a way to press down the evil of the Qiantang River.
This duplicate of Leifeng Pagoda means so much to the local people and to China in large. It relates to Westlake, a symbol of Westlake. It has love story, it has history, and also the fortune of the whole Hangzhou all relate to Leifeng Pagoda.
During the wartime, the pagoda tower was burned down completely and collapsed in 1924. China experts had had a long debate on whether the pagoda should be rebuilt. A strong argument for the pagoda's rebuilding was that it had a great archaeological value and was also an Asian architectural masterpiece. The original pagoda was built in the year of 977. All that remains of the original pagoda is the crumbling foundation. Viewable from outside, the glass case that is housed in Pagoda Remains Memory Museum at the bottom floor of the pagoda. There's not much to see within the pagoda itself. It was almost recently rebuilt in 2000. However, the view of the city skyline is one of the best from here. Situated at the foot of Lingyin Mountain, aside from the West Lake, Lingyin Temple is one of the 10 most famous Asian Buddhist temples in China. First built by an Indian monk, Hui Li, in the year 326 AD, during the Eastern Jin Dynasty, the temple was named Lingyin Temple for its peaceful environment.
As we know, every pagoda related to either monk or temple. And this particular one related to the first monk, the master monk, who built the first temple on this mountain. And later on, when he died, his ash was buried under this pagoda. And later on, people built 383 Buddha statues around it. I'm going to count it one by one, make sure there are 383. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 100, 108, 109, 200. $383.
Temple bell ringing in the afternoon at Nanping Hill is one of the top 10 views of West Lake in Hangzhou. The Nanping Hill contains lots of caves and hollow spaces. The shape of the hill is just like a painted screen. Therefore, the sound echoed through the caves and hollow space, even reached as far as the other shore of the West Lake. And then the sound bounced back from another hill that sent back to a big echo over the lake.
Hey, this is the statue, it's the crazy Jigong monk. Remember we talked before, he left the Lingyin Temple and settled here. It's another temple in Hangzhou. And there are so many interesting stories about him. And they even put his statue there. People really respect this crazy monk.
Fei, a national hero, came from Tangying in Xinzhou of today's Henan province. He was a great general, famous for wars against the Jin dynasty and the Song dynasty. After he joined the army, Yue Fei and his troops continuously won wars against the enemy. However, after Yue and his army had recovered most of the lost territory, Emperor Gaozong embraced the evil plot of Qin Hui, who was the prime minister of the Song dynasty, and surrendered to the Jin. As a result, Yue Fei was falsely accused and later secretly killed in jail. For generations, Yue Fei has been considered as a national hero, and his tomb has become a place for people to show their respects.
The emperor of the Song dynasty didn't like the war or fighting. That's why he moved the capital from North City, Kaifeng, to the south of China, Hangzhou. He enjoyed the West Lake, the peaceful lifestyle. Guess what? I still can feel the spirit today. Right now, along the bank of West Lake, there's so many tea houses, coffee shops, bars. People love relaxing here. People all the time drinking their tea, enjoy their coffee. Who doesn't?
Splendid and beautiful.
Hey buddy, you're right. Hangzhou is not only beautiful, splendid, it's much more than that. It's more history, culture, beautiful lakes, beautiful girls. It's perfecto. So I'll be back. I hope you come back too. Not you. So I'll see you next time. Ciao. Ciao, Bella.
Goodbye.
In the next episode, come with us to explore the legacy of Genghis Khan in Ordos of Inner Mongolia in the Yuan dynasty.